not from historical, but I just looked at the group that we have, because we've got a very young team, and I just felt that it was very, very important to actually add a little bit of like experience and strength. And being a midfield player, I do rate Maria. I do, and Ritu is obviously speaks for herself. She's a very talented footballer, the same as Monica. You know, Shamshina gives you that balance on the left-hand side. Rubna, she's probably the standout keeper that we have at this present time. We're in the process of actually not recruiting, but developing some new goalkeepers, especially for under-20s. But that, yeah, as I said, criteria which are set down, very, very difficult to do it based on fitness, and I would never look to actually omit somebody from the group based on fitness. On condition, on somebody's physical condition, yeah, I would do, and that may apply to certain individuals. But I've always believed that if you looked after yourself, if you're a professional footballer, you have a duty and a responsibility to actually live your life in the right manner, eat right, sleep right, rest, etc., etc., and stay off social media. Okay, the development part. Listen, I strongly believe, end of the day, everybody wants results, but I think you need to put it in context. We don't have a ladies' women's football league to start with. Okay, we're fortunate enough that, thanks to Ms. Kiran and many, many people and others, we have the girls on a full-time basis. We're obviously not blessed with facilities, so there is no fields. So I've had to run 2 programs within one, because I knew full well that we wouldn't have the facility to actually house 2 groups in terms of, from the technical side of things, from playing. Bangladesh will always be, it's a growing nation. The fastest trajectory in the modern day era is ladies football, and it's on an upwards trajectory. And if you don't embrace new methods and you don't take on board the development side of it, it'll run away from you. The development side, I think, for the next 5 to 10 years, Bangladesh is going to be, especially Bangladesh ladies, is if you put development first and performance first, results will always come. It's the same in any industry, in any walk of life. If you don't have a good production line, you're not going to develop the finished product. And that's the same. If we don't provide, you know, the basic fundamental facilities for young boys, girls, etc., player welfare, how on earth do you expect to, it's like the mental side of things, yoga, fitness conditioners, etc., you know, all costs money. Going to your second question, Sabina and Masura, I thought Masura and Sabina, I think Sabina's run a race, if I'm being honest with you, being completely practical. I think her time's come to an end. I think you've got to move on. Playing in a league such as Bhutan, Miss Kiran could play centre forward in that league. I don't believe it's a league which, you know, and I'm not being disrespectful, it's like played at walking pace. So 28-0, is that a way of actually judging a player? No, it's not. Sorry. As for Masura, I think she's out of shape, if I'm being brutally honest. I'm being in the nicest possible sense. I think she's out of shape. She's not fit enough. She played half a game against in a first game, and I think it's time that, and it comes down to setting good examples and, you know, discipline and respect. A lot, you know, I do pay a lot of attention to that, and I think you need that in any developing, you know, emerging football world. And I've worked at national team level in various countries, and invariably the disciplined ones invariably last. You know, they run the race a little bit longer. No, listen, I never say never.
But they have any opportunity to
Hey, listen. I think Sabina's time is coming to a close, if I'm being honest with you. I've not had a conversation with her. if she'd have been willing to maybe like come along and use her experience in a mentoring capacity towards the girls, and maybe being coming off the bench as an impact player, possibly there may have been an opportunity. But I've had no conversation with her whatsoever, and through a third party I got wind that she weren't interested in that. As for Masura, she gets herself fit and in shape. Why not? I don't, there's other girls who I've left out as well. But I've left them out because we've got so many good young players coming through, and it's time. You've got, like I said, you've got to roll with the times. If you don't do that, if you don't roll and embrace new ideas, new methods, implement and introduce new players, you're going to get left behind. Everybody else in Asian football and world football's doing it. Why can't Bangladesh? Well, she's not in the national training camp. She was invited back, but she went to go to, and I had to pick a squad of 23. I invited her in for the training programme. The point I'm making is that we don't have the luxury of a league here, so they've gone to play in Bhutan, and I respect that. I understand the reasons, probably for money, but the question you have to ask yourself is, Bangladesh. I would love to see a Bangladesh league, because I honestly believe, I believe in these young girls. I think this young girl here has got a great future ahead of her. I think she can become a great captain. And I don't discount what Sabina did for the country as well. I'm respectful. I'm a respectful person. So I think what's important to sort of take on board is times move on, and if you don't roll with the times and you don't embrace new ideas and look for new players, it's a revolving door policy. Because I think she's a good leader. I think she's got character. I think she leads by example. She's not a massive talker. I've played with some fantastic captains who don't say a word, but on the field they do the talking on the field. Why should I not have the right to select my captain? Why do I have to go with somebody else who's been an experience or inexperience? Captains lead by example, not just from a vocal perspective, but also from a practical perspective, how they play the game.